it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, September 7th. So today we have the moon in Aquarius all day. We have that shift late last night from the moon being in Capricorn into the light, airy, big picture energy of Aquarius. So as we've been discussing, most of the time in this Capricorn energy, we're illuminated to the blockages, to the challenges, to the things that are holding us back and restricting us from actually making the kind of progress that we are hoping for. In the Aquarian energy is when we cut the cord, when we work on freeing ourselves, liberating ourselves from some of the things that we've identified are definitely creating a blockage. The Aquarian energy is all up in our highest intellect. We are inspired, we are innovative, we are seeing the big picture vision. The Aquarian energy gives us the observer type of mentality and definitely pushes the ideas, the ambitions that we've already recognized that we are looking to pursue. So Wednesday is ruled over by Mercury. Mercury, of course, the ruler of Virgo season. Mercury also slowing down, preparing to go retrograde on Friday. There is a lot of air energy, definitely stirring our mental planes, definitely putting us in a situation and a position to have good conversations, either in our inner realm with ourselves or with people around us, that will constantly be activating aha moments within us, putting us in the right position, the right direction to actually come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, and move ourselves forward. So there are 9 different aspects here today, and 7 of them involve the moon. The moon, right out of the gate, is going to make an aspect, an interaction with Venus, who is fresh into Virgo energy. If you haven't listened to that astro forecast, please go ahead and do so. The moon interacting with Venus in this way is giving us an opportunity to make a choice, to decide something, to become a little bit more clear on what it is that we want, need, and desire emotionally, what it is that we need to fix within ourselves, within our relationships, within our money matters, in order to return us to a state of wholeness. Now, this may feel challenging because, again, we are still struggling to put the pieces together and making sure what that greater plan looks like. But again, may I remind you that baby steps count. The moon is going to go ahead and bump into Chiron in a very positive way. This is pushing us to see where it is that we have grown, where it is that we have something to celebrate, where it is that we have made improvements, where it is in comparison to the years previous and times gone by, where we have made some monumental, I'm going to say, improvements, transformations, changes in our lives, and where it is that we are technically processing our thoughts and our emotions, our circumstances in a much faster way. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes when something comes up for us, we used to be stuck on it for days, sometimes months, sometimes years on end. The process of being able to identify the problem, to be able to sort through the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, the memories, and actually purge that, release that after integration and acknowledgement is becoming much more accelerated. The Chiron energy, yes, is the wounded healer. It illuminates where it is that we've had wounds, what it is that we've done to actually address and heal said wounds, and of course, give us a moment to take that big picture in and see where it is that we have to take a moment to actually celebrate the growth, the improvement, the healing that we have already been able to accomplish. Now, the moon goes ahead and sextiles Jupiter. This is a beautiful, beautiful energy. Jupiter, of course, is retrograde in Aries energy. Definitely the energy in the cosmos right now, adding to the impulse, the want, the need, the desire to make a change, to push forward, to, start something new. Of course, we can't because we're in a retrograde, and we're in a season of Earth right now, which needs us to go low and slow and think logical and practical about the moves that we're going to make. But Jupiter is also magnifying for us where it is that growth has taken place, where change has been initiated, where we have technically mustered up the courage and the bravery, that inner spiritual warrior, in order to actually tackle some of the blockages, the challenges, the restrictions, the walls that we have been knocking our head against, in order to constantly be pumping ourselves up, hyping ourselves up to push through. Now, many of us in some very difficult situations as of late, we're really having to change our belief system around what it is that we actually think is possible for ourselves. And in this particular energy, we are being magnified on some of the great ideas coming in, some of the inspirations coming in, some of the aha moments popping off. This is definitely putting us in a very interesting transitional phase, because even though we're having some of these beautiful ideas being downloaded to us, tangibly speaking, we're in a planning stage. We're not actually in a stage of action. So there is a little bit of frustration because things aren't going as fast as we would necessarily prefer. The moon is going to trine Mercury and later trine Mars. So this is a beautiful energy because it's air on air. We have the moon in Aquarius, air energy. We have Mercury, which is naturally an air element anyways, in Libran energy, also an air element. Now, this is going to be great for dialogue, conversation, exchange. This is going to be great for collaboration, bouncing ideas off of other people. This is going to be great in order to kind of feed into, run with, expanding our ideas, expanding our minds, really, really pushing the boundaries of what it is that we were currently sitting in and what it is that we now are trying to bring to life for ourselves. This is I'm going to say a lot of chatter in the mental plane. Even if we're not having conversations outside of ourselves, the conversation with ourselves is a very, very alive and well. And because we're in Virgo season that Mercury rules over, this is about being able to have a pretty active, pretty busy mind space and realizing what it is that we need to do to bring it in the physical body, to bring it into action. With Virgo energy, we're able to actually take action in our physical realms in this earth plane in order to start piecing together the foundation needed in order to bring some of these ideas to life. So this is going to be a very busy inner realm time. And if you find yourself in the right place at the right time with the right people, with the right vibe, definitely open yourself up to having these types of conversations, because in these energy exchanges, something's going to spark. Something's going to just pop off that's going to lead us into a new expansive idea on what it is that we're actually inspired to pursue. The moon is going to bump into the sun in such a positive way. This is feeding off of these ideas, this stimulation, this piecing together of, inspiration, of just having the higher intellect pop off and bringing it into the physical body where we can apply logic and practicality and strategy to what it is that we actually want to bring to life. So the moon interacting with the sun this way is kind of shining a bright light on, okay, we got all this stuff going on in our emotions and in our headspace. We have all of these epiphanies, these revelations, these ideas, these inspirations, and the sun being in Virgo energy is bringing our life force into our physical body. What can we do about it? What can we do in the here and now? Even if it's a baby step to start aligning with what it is that we are now experiencing in our inner realm. This is about bringing our thoughts, our ideas into the physical form. This is how we manifest. And this Virgo energy, being the earth energy ruled over by the mercurial air, means that we're able to really grasp a vision, grasp a thought in our mental plane, and then bring forth into our physical body what it is that we can do in the here and now to root those ideas in. So the moon goes ahead and semi-squares with Neptune. This is a little bit of tension because here's the thing. We got all of this air energy going on that kind of leans on the side of logic and practicality, the intellectual part of our ego. Neptune being retrograde in its place of power in Pisces is all about the higher self, all about the intuition. So suddenly now we're taking these things, these thoughts popping off in our mind space, and now we're trying to align with our higher self to see how it is that we feel about it, what our intuition is saying, what it is our higher self is saying, to capture that dream, to capture that vision that our soul self wants us to pursue. And the only downside about this is that sometimes our intellectual side likes to talk a lot of trash to make sure that we stick on the ego side and we don't dabble too far into the intuitive side. And this can be a problem because right now we're looking for guidance. We're looking for a surety. We're looking for validation from our higher self, from our spiritual team up in the ethereal realms. This semi-square is a little bit of tension. So it's almost like we're battling it out, like what makes sense versus what feels good. What our egoic mind is telling us versus what our soul self is telling us. And there is a little bit of a combative conversation going on within us in order to try and blend the two together so that we feel like we're operating from a place of wholeness. This is when the moon goes ahead and trines Mars, who is in Gemini energy. So again, Aquarius is air energy, Gemini is air energy, Aquarius energy rules the higher intellect, Gemini energy rules the lower level intellect, and Mars being the god of war, ruling over our drive, our passion, our desires. We are getting fired up about these ideas. We are tapping into a new motivation. We are tapping into recognizing the actions that we can take in the here and now in order to align us with this path, with this idea, with this new passion. And we're getting kind of fired up about it. And getting fired up about it is not a bad thing at all, but we do have to exercise energy management. Mars tends to just jump in head first, balls to the walls, exerts ourselves so freaking passionately that we run out of energy. It's more of a short-term burst of energy, and right now we need to be focused on the long term. So as exciting as it is, and if you are presented with an opportunity to take an action to align with those ideas, with that vision, by all means take it, but please manage your energy so that you have enough left to actually see these ideas come into fruition. We want to be able to sustain the energy in order to make it to the long-term goals that we're actively looking to pursue. Now, the sun in Virgo is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with the true node, the soul's path, the destiny's path, our mission, our purpose. What this is kind of pushing us to do, especially riding off the coattails of these other trines between these air signs, is we're definitely getting a little bit of a pep in our step. We're definitely getting a little bit of hype going on within us. We are inspired. We are, identifying new goals, new dreams, new visions, new ambitions. We are, really trying to motivate ourselves at this point to rise to the challenges that we're currently being faced with, to really see where it is that we have to grow through what it is that we're going through, and where it is that there are some major improvements taking place first within the inner realm, because that's where the change, the transformation needs to start before we're going to see it in our outer realm. We are definitely grounded in our approach. We are thinking logically and practically. We are sorting through the details of the strategy, of the plan that is needed in order to actually bring things to life. But here's the thing, as highly charged, as passionate, as, motivated and determined as we may feel, we also have the sun shortly after bumping into Chiron in not the nicest way. And let me just say, this is where we tend to start talking fear into our plans. This is where we start recognizing that maybe we kind of lack the confidence needed in order to continue to push ourselves through these challenges. This is where we kind of realize that we are having a lot of doubts, of insecurities, where basically we let our ego get the best of us and we start spitting a lot of that negative narrative into the dreams and the visions that we were highly inspired to pursue. And we're also starting to doubt our intuition, our higher self. Again, we had that battle earlier between the ego and our intuition. And at this particular point in the day, it almost feels like our ego is getting the best of us and really kind of turning the light down on the good feels that we had, trying to align with our higher self and receive that inner guidance. And at this particular point in time, there's a lot of indecisions coming up. We are very torn. We're not as firm and hell-bent and focused as we once were earlier on in the day. And I would say that there are some situations that will possibly be arising as triggers and activations in our outer world that we don't have control over, that's going to illuminate for us where it is that we're feeling a little bit insecure, a little bit vulnerable. And of course, the minute that we feel insecure and vulnerable, the minute that we feel confused, we put the guards up, we retreat back, and we prefer to stick with the same old in the situations that we've been in, because at least they're predictable. At least we know what we can expect for them, which of course is not what we want to do, but that is the energy and that is the vibe that definitely gets the best of us. Like I continue to say, just as we take one big step forward, there is that dark force energy that tries to pull us on back. The ego does not want us to grow, does not want us to improve, does not want us to step into the next level of awareness or enlightenment. And because of that, we really have to practice our spiritualism, our self-esteem, our confidence. We have to build ourselves up constantly. We have to constantly check in with our higher self and trust our intuition so that we are at least giving ourselves a fair shot of being able to make that growth, make that transformation, make those improvements, and not let our ego self win.